All right, so I just spent the last 3 days binging Drive to Survive and also catching up on testing, man. And I'm telling you, I'm ready for the new season.
Yeah, are you fully torqued?
Fully torqued, man. You know
How
there's
torqued are you?
oh I'm mode push right now.
Well, I mean, that kind of fitting considering your name is Puxan and we kind of call you. Well, I don't know if anybody calls you Push.
Some,
Your name's sometimes spelled Puxan, which
yeah. Well,
contains push in it.
so yeah, just a quick reminder for if you're a new follower, listener here on our podcast.
Yeah, it's a
I'm
listener in this domain. It's not follower. No one's following here. Listeners.
Yes, my name is Pushan, and you can follow me at F1 Mode Push on Instagram, and you can also follow our podcast at the Grandstand F1.
Wow, you went shameless plug to start the episode, huh?
Yeah. Let's just go. Let's get all that admin stuff out of the way, and we got F Knowles here because I'd like to introduce my co-host as well.
Well, thanks, man. That's appreciated. Appreciated. Yeah, that you would actually introduce me.
So I love Drive to Survive every year, but there's always a bit of weird feeling for me of like reliving the previous season when we're that close to the new one. It's like, all
Agreed.
right, out with the old, in with the new. Let's roll that intro and get into the new season.
Roll it. Oh, that's roll it.
That smooth operator.
Smooth operator.
A question for all of you except Romain Grosjean.
To whom it may concern, fuck you.
More ladies in the paddock? Yeah, more paddock access to some women. There's too many dudes.
I don't really have a lot to comment on that, except that he was being a pussy.
Yeah, baby.
Yo,
You know what's funny is that we've in our previous episodes, I've been so used to you having control over the soundboard that and I usually say roll it to cue the push, to actually cue the intro. And then I said roll it, and then there was you who didn't. It was me who had the control of the
yeah,
the soundboard.
we're also testing. It's part of the drill. It's part of the
We're in preseason testing.
new season. We got some some high tech things going on our side as well. Speaking of
Sure.
testing, there was someone. There's always someone who misses out on testing, and this year we had a driver we like to refer to as Silver Spoon Stroll. Got in a little bike accident here, and that's not the first time an F1 driver has missed out because of biking. I remember Alonso a few years ago when he made his return, had a huge cycling crash in the mountains and had to get like some steel plates installed in his jaw.
That's right.
Yeah. So I think a little tip for F1 drivers is stay off the bike during the winter.
I mean, tell that to Valtteri, dude. That's all he does in winter. Apparently, that's all he does ever is bike with his Olympian girlfriend.
Yeah, when you have such an aerodynamic haircut, you got to get on a bike though. He's allowed; he gets a pass
and the mustache
and the mustache. Yeah, Movember is running long for him. So, for all of you who are thinking, "Oh man, Vettel's going to make a comeback right as he retired," that's not happening. I also was kind of hoping that would happen, but
did you actually think it was going to happen though?
No, there was some chatter, but it's unlike Seb to kind of retire in such a way and come back without even missing a single race. So
agreed.
We do have F2 champion Felipe Drogovic from Brazil, who will fill in if need be, because I think Lance has a bit of a wrist injury, but and having missed all preseason, I wouldn't be surprised if he missed the first race. And yeah, what else going on? I think there's some.
Well, they
there's
confirmed
some-
it. Just to let you know, they confirmed it.
Oh, it's confirmed. Okay,
Yeah,
all right,
he's Drogovic is filling in for Lance.
cool. Official breaking news.
Mhm.
Alpha Tauri might be for sale. They're denying it for now, but if they were, who would you like to enter F1? Who would you like to buy at Alpha Tauri?
I mean, the only person who's going to do it is obviously Andretti at this point.
Yeah.
And nobody seems to want him to get into F1. So
Yeah.
I don't, it's kind of interesting. Like but I also don't buy the rumors. I think, I don't know. Franz Tuss put out a really, really strong worded release this morning to
Right.
basically
Yeah.
deny everything.
Denying it.
But we have seen this in the sport. So,
Yep.
these sandbagging son of bitches, this is
It could also be Porsche, by the way, who
True.
didn't work out with Red Bull to enter for 2026. But before we talk about 2026, we got 2023, and we had testing, and there's some. Before we talk about the new cars, we had a few changes in the silly season, in the off season silly season, with Matteo Binotto getting the boot at Ferrari, which, without getting into it too much, I think was slightly unfair, but a lot of politics at Maranello. But we do have Fred Vasseur coming in, which we all love, which means that there's been some changes also at Alfa Romeo with Alessandro Aluni Bravi, who a lot of people don't know, but he's going to be managing director there.
technically not
Seidel.
team principal, by the way.
Yeah. So yeah, that's
Interesting move for Alfa Romeo.
that's why I got a little thrown off there, because it's not a team principal. It's a technical managing director, or just managing director. I made up the technical part. It was I messed up because it was Andreas Seidel who left McLaren to become CEO of the Sauber Group, which is Alfa Romeo, planning for the whole Audi shift in 2026. And there's another Andrea, to keep it simple and not confusing, Andrea Stella, who is team principal at McLaren. And last but not least, because I think that's also one of the big and one of the most interesting ones, is James Vowles from Mercedes going to Williams for his first role as team principal.
Yeah, I mean, no more. I mean, the days of Valtteri it's James are over. That was always whenever that happened at Merck, you knew Valtteri was about to have a disappointing day. But I'm excited to see that. I love Fred Vasseur. He is one of my favorite jolly human beings in Formula One, and just always seems to have a smile on his face. Whether he's the right fit at Ferrari, we shall see.
Let's hope he has that smile on his face at the end of the year, because that would have meant a title or two at Ferrari. So, yeah.
Dude, we'll see.
But testing. So we're at Bahrain this year. It's a condensed testing, 3 days only. So that's a day and a half for each driver. And that's not a lot. We have new cars, obviously, going on the 2022 revamp of the regulations, but teams have changed their cars considerably, especially on the side pods area, without getting too technical. So they're not the same cars as last year, but some of them, a few teams have gone for evolutions, and some have gone for revolutions. So yeah, let's take a look at testing. Did you follow testing at all? Did you see the coverage?
I watched a little bit of it. Honestly, it was kind of tough. With everything else that's been going on.
Yeah, too condensed, I thought.
I don't know. I know the general results, but again, testing is testing, right?
Yeah, we say this every year. Testing is testing. We won't know until qualifying on Saturday in Bahrain for the first race. But I think that since it's so condensed this year, teams are not sandbagging as much. Don't get me wrong, I didn't say they're not doing it at all. Hint, Merck and Alpine, but less so than usual. And we can kind of, looking at the the times. Obviously on day 2 we had Guan Yu Zhou at the top of the timesheets, which I don't think he's going to be world champion this year. But that just shows you how teams are working with different fuels, maybe engine modes. So yeah, let's have a look at these teams and also at the new drivers and see how we think they're going to fare this year. We're going to start with Williams. Williams with James Vowles. How are you feeling with James Vowles leaving Mercedes actually for Williams?
I think it's a natural progression, right? Why wouldn't you take that job?
Yeah, I think Toto was a little surprised by that move. Obviously great for James Vowles, but I think he's such an important part of Mercedes that it was he could have done without that move. I think Toto.
Well, I'm sure for Mercedes it hurts them right now more than it helps them. But like, you got to think about a guy's natural progression in his career, and like James Vowles has been an incredible part of the Mercedes team, and to be offered a chance at Williams, it puts him in a position to then potentially. I mean, look at Fred Vasseur. Like, dude was in F3, F2, team boss in F3, in F2, then in Formula One for Alfa Romeo, and is now the head of Ferrari. So who knows? I mean, it makes sense for James. Let's put it that way. And in this sport, we know everybody's looking out for themselves.
Oh, are they? Are they? All right, so I'm going to give you my brief kind of summary of testing to kind of paint the picture if you haven't seen it, because obviously I have watched all days of testing simultaneously with Drive to Survive, so it's not confusing at all. Red Bull looks fast, looks very fast actually, and no signs of them slowing down from the end of last year. Ferrari seems very close behind. Merc is the one we never know, because as every year we say they're sandbagging, but last year they actually had some real issues with their car. So I'm not really sure about Merc yet. A team that's made a huge impact in testing was Aston Martin, with Alonso throwing up some incredible times up there. I don't know how that's going to look like next weekend, but it could be one of the big surprises of the field. And then there's the midfield, which is really hard to kind of decipher, with Alpine, Alfa Romeo, Haas, McLaren. And I don't think that Williams, is going to make substantial moves to the front, but they did have a much better preseason testing this year. Like, I don't know if you remember, a few years ago they actually didn't show up till for the first few years, right? So first few days, excuse me. They didn't have a car to present, but this year they had a car.
They literally didn't physically show up.
Yeah,
that needs to be made actually clear. They didn't. It's not that they metaphorically didn't show up. It's that they physically didn't have the car.
Yeah, they physically did not. They were not there at Barcelona, I think it was, and then the rest of the year they didn't show up racing wise either. I don't think it's going to be the case this year, but I'm also not going to give my kind of pecking order yet. We'll say that for the end of the episode here. But let's look at the driver lineup here. We got Logan Sargent as a rookie from America, which we're all very excited about, going up against Alex Albon. What do we think of this lineup, and who's going to come out on top?
I think Sargent was fast tracked because of the growing audience with F1 in the United States, the growing American audience that F1 is getting, especially through Drive to Survive. Whether you like it or not, it's happening. Deal with it, everyone.
It's happening, baby.
Vegas. It's happening. Yeah, I mean, there's 3 races in America now in the States. Vegas is going to be fucking crazy.
It's going to be wild.
I actually am kind of looking forward to that, but we'll get to that later. As far as who I think is going to come out on top of that team, it's got to be Albon.
Yeah, I think he could be a great rookie and he might have his moments, but I think Albon is going to lead that team technically. And looking forward to seeing how Sargent gets on with his, in his rookie season. Let's move on to Haas. Drive to Survive showed that F1's a ruthless sport, and Haas has now welcomed back. Well, they've welcomed Hulkenberg back into F1, pairing him with his old nemesis K-Mag for one of the most experienced midfield pairings there. I'm excited for that one. I know you are.
Well, I mean, let's just think about something real quick. What happened between the two of them back in the day?
So,
Hold on, I've got a little audio.
oh,
that we should play here. Did we hear that?
There's some technical difficulties. We could hear it very, very faintly.
Very
I think.
faintly.
Yeah.
Oh.
So
well, anyway,
let's summarize. Yeah, let's summarize it. They had an incident during the race, and K-Mag is getting interviewed, and Hulkenberg comes up to this interview, interrupts it, puts his hand on K-Mag's shoulder, and what does he say?
Well, Hulk says, are we role playing here?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
I'll be Hulkenberg, and you say you can be K-Mag. So I'm Hulkenberg, and I walk up all Hulkenberg like, and I grab you on the shoulder, and I say, once again, most sporting driver on the grid, and then you say,
suck my balls, mate.
He actually said honey.
Okay, for all these years I thought it was mate, but okay, it's
he
honey.
Confirmed that he meant to say honey.
But, okay.
Yeah, like sweetheart.
So full of irony,
which is even more
sarcasm.
Yeah.
So
but it kind of came out weird and out of his mouth is what he confirmed. But anyway, so the two of them after that incident, which is fucking hilarious.
Yeah, they're not the best of they weren't the best of friends, but now I think they're both in their mid 30s. Both happy to be back in F1. I call this the comeback team. Haas, got two came back last year. Hulk is coming back this year. This is a harder one for me to predict, but I will say just based on seniority and the fact that K-Mag raced with the car last year, that he will just about edge out Hulkenberg.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I think he's going to edge out. I think it's an edge out. I don't think it's like a full, I don't think it's a dismantling
no.
Well, actually, let's put it this way. I don't think it's going to be what we saw yesterday with Mick and K-Mag, for example.
Oof,
but
you had to bring that up, didn't you?
Sorry, dude. I know you're all salty about that still, but but I am actually excited. Hulk yesterday just came out in the media and was just like very excited about being back and the instincts and how it just kind of naturally comes back to you.
Mm-hmm. And Hulk has raced
my wild card. This might come into my wild card later in the episode.
Ooh, a little teasing. I like it. Hulkenberg's been out since 2019, the end of 2019, but he has raced every single year as the super sub for different teams. Force India, Aston Martin, and was there one more? No, yeah, I think
did he do Renault?
Did
he ever super sub? No, he didn't ever super sub.
He did not. McLaren had some issues during testing. I don't know if you heard about this. They found a development route too late in winter, which means that they're going to come up with like a huge, almost spec B car at the beginning of the European season. They're not looking too hot in testing, but they do have they have a very exciting driver lineup with Norris, obviously, and the rookie Piastri that's won everything, F3, F4. People talk about, like, a lot of people are saying he's the next multiple world champion, or definitely a world champion in the making. Ooh, this is a hard one to predict. What are your thoughts, Knowles?
I'm going team fucking Lando, dude. And like after the bullshit Piastri pulled last year, I don't really have a lot of love for him. I don't really like the way that he interviews. Obviously he's an incredibly talented driver. Don't want to take that away from him. But as far as his personality is concerned, I'm not really, as the English might say, I'm not quite keen on the guy. So, and I also just think it's Lando's team. And Lando said this in Drive to Survive. He was like, it's already my team.
He's already leading it.
Yeah, he's already leading it, which, just says a lot about where Lando's at. And I do think that's going to stay the case this year.
I agree with you. I'm curious about Piastri, but Lando's going to come out on top there. Let's move along to Alfa Romeo and Alfa Tauri. All right, so Alfa Romeo, we got Valtteri versus Guan Yu Zhou. Who's coming out on top?
Valtteri.
Yeah, no
Dude, with
questions
that
asked.
mullet and that mustache,
Oh,
he is in a different domain. It's got to be Valtteri.
Also,
yeah,
best ever testing helmet for Valtteri with the stash in the front and the mullet in the back. Amazing. Alpha Tauri is a harder one, actually, because we have a fake rookie, Nick DeVries. He's actually already raced and scored points.
Rookie asterisks.
Yeah. Actually, there are people debating whether or not he should be considered rookie, but, we will for technicality.
He's a rookie.
So we got Yuki versus Nick. I say Nick.
Yeah, Nick, easy, hands down.
All right. I don't think we should even bring up Aston Martin because Alonso is going to just destroy Stroll.
Wow, you're that bullish on him?
Oh, absolutely. Why? Do you disagree?
No, I don't disagree, but I don't think he's going to destroy him. Lance is... I don't know why Lawrence... Just going to say this. Why would Lawrence Stroll do that to his own son? Like, why would you want to embarrass your boy like that?
Because it's business, man. It's ruthless. Even his son can get the boot. No,
but yeah, I think. Sorry, Lance, but you've had the namesake as part of the team, but yeah.
Okay, now moving on to Alpine. We got the all-French squad this year. Very exciting driver lineup with Ocon and Gasly. We all know they had some beef in the past, but they're both going to be working towards getting wins together, hopefully. So this is going to be a very close one.
I think you and I are going to say the same thing on this.
How about we go on? Let's do a little countdown. 3, 2, 1. Gasly.
Yep.
Yeah.
But similar to Haas, not like it's gonna be very tight because Esteban's no slouch, but
no,
Pierre's hungry, baby. Like that dude he met Zinedine Zidane, like he's feeling good.
Oh, he's got the blessing. He's got the blessing by the God himself.
The God himself.
All right, now we got the top 3. Let's do a little fast round here. Mercedes.
I think Lewis edges George this season.
Agreed. Once again, not going to crush anyone. Yeah. Ferrari.
Charles.
Yep. And
but also, I think the gap's going to be wider between Charles and Carlos than say like it's going to be between Lewis and George, but not by that much.
I think actually Ferrari might be tighter than it was last year.
I agree.
Red Bull, I think we can just skip that one because they have one driver and the other one is just there to help out. We both.
Can I just comment on it though?
Sure.
Though I think Max will be, it's Max, but there was commentary that came from Red Bull saying that they found a solution that suits both drivers for the car, which means that either Checo's found some performance that Max was finding in the car, or there was a change. I don't know. It was kind of an ominous thing for them to say, but could bring the gap between them closer.
Yeah, I'm afraid of Red Bull's pace, by the way. Ominous is the right word. They look fucking mighty. And if they have found something to make Checo more comfortable, that means they might get their first ever 1-2 in the championship. They still haven't done that. But we have the championship, of course, but we also have, other storylines that are going to, take place in 2023. And I wanted to ask you, what are you looking forward to this season the most?
I don't know if it's necessarily looking forward to, because like what I would really look forward to is another Lewis Hamilton championship.
But actually, I wouldn't mind that either.
Like, so this actually, but it plays into my first storyline that I'm following or looking forward to is like, will Merc or Ferrari actually challenge Red Bull for the title this year?
Yeah.
And for Merc, it's more of a reliability question and as far, well, I don't, maybe not reliability, but is their car going to be good enough? And I don't think Merc is really going to challenge for the title. I'll make this quick, but I think
Quick.
that they're going to win more races that will take points away from Red Bull, which will give Ferrari a little bit more of an edge. But will that actually stay true? Ferrari is the big what if in that scenario. The next one for me, I would say probably there's a lot of chatter in the midfield. Obviously, Aston Martin, there's a lot of like questions about where they're going to end up because we said the same thing last year and they didn't really show up. And then McLaren, who knows what version of McLaren is going to show up this season. And then Alpine, I mean, Alpine's looking bullish. Alpine's looking strong. And then I would even say Alfa Romeo could put in some challenges there and maybe even Haas here and there. But who's the real deal in the midfield is I think the biggest question. And I think there are one or two teams in that midfield that could shake up the constructors in a way. And then the last thing for me is I think all eyes are on Checo this season as far as drivers are concerned. I think he's
the hot seat.
I think he's got he's got the most pressure on his shoulders. And why I mean his contract is out at the end I think it's out at the end of the year.
I think so. Yeah.
And we know how that number 2 seat goes. If Checo doesn't close the gap to Max, will he still have a seat next year?
And if De Vries performs, he could be, they could be an all Dutch lineup at Red Bull in 2024.
Listen, I like Nick De Vries a lot, so I'm not gonna. But he's a Dutchman that I actually approve of.
All right, so yeah, those are pretty. Those are pretty good, actually. I mean, obviously, those are the same. I mean, this is what I'm also interested in. Kind of zoning in, getting a bit closer into the nitty gritty. I want to know if Alonso's finally made a good move in his career. He's pretty much driven for the whole field, right, at this point, and he made the big move to Aston Martin. Lap times are looking really good. He's giving off that like Alonso smile. That's like he's this little cheeky smile. So I don't know what he has up his sleeve there. I'm not saying he's going to win a championship, but he's going to be up there. So interested in that. Obviously.
Just quickly, there's definitely some evil like Lawrence Stroll, Fernando Alonso. Like I can see them at the Aston Martin, offices in the UK, just like in their like new wind tunnel, like
yeah, exactly.
Smithers shit from The Simpsons.
The evil laugh, and then like you'll have a poster with Papa Stroll and Alonso, and Lance in the back, like, "Hey, wait for me, guys."
His whack ass haircut.
The French Revolution at Alpine. That's an easy one for me, obviously. Allez les Bleus, Team France. Obviously, a blue car, all French lineup. Who's going to come out on top? Really interested in that one. And after this whole saga last year, is Piastri the real deal? Is he going to show us his real worth? So those are my big, my points of interest.
I like those. I liked all 6 of ours, actually. I think those are good storylines for this year.
Yeah. As you know, this is the time for predictions. And, usually we do really, really poorly on these. But as is tradition, we're going to give our predictions for the season, and we're also going to start a new season of the Stand Championship,
which I still have yet to win. I hate to admit that.
Right. So, do we need a quick refresher on the Stand?
I think so. Let's do it. I know I do.
All right. So, just as a recap, I'm a 3-time defending champion of the Stand Championship.
All right, let's move on.
Yeah. All right. So we give points for a variety of things. So every weekend for every Grand Prix, we will take turns going first, and we'll predict who gets pole position for 5 points, and then we go from P1 to P5. And if we get those correct, we get 15, 12, 8, 4, or 2 points. There is a Grosjean moment, which is the moment where a driver makes a complete fool of himself. And
Romain Grosjean.
A la Romain Grosjean, spinning in the pit lane, stalling, hitting someone under
warm-up lap,
hitting the wall in her safety car. So that's a 10-pointer, which that's very rare. And that's every weekend we get that. And we also have 3 wild cards which is, something that we kind of predict in the beginning of the year. And in the end, we'll see if we got any of those right. Last year, we both got Russell taking his first win. And we've also added this year, who is world champion for 10 points, who is constructors world champion, who is rookie of the year, all this for 10 points. And then we are going to give our order of the teams from 1 to 10, and this seems very arbitrary, especially right now, but if we do get some of them right, we'll get 5 points per correct championship standing. So let's start, shall we, with our predictions for who is going to be world champion this year.
You go.
All right, so I hate to say this, but I think it's going to be a three-peat for Max Verstappen.
Yeah, well, I'm going different than you.
Yeah.
I think it's Charles.
Well, I hope.
I hope I'm right and I'm
hope,
wrong.
I hope you get. Yeah, I hope you get the 10. I hope you don't get the 10 points, but I hope you get the 10 points. Actually. All right. So, are you backing the Reds for world champion?
I'm backing Reds for world champion, not only for driver, but for constructors too.
Okay, because
I'm sorry, no, I read your notes. Jesus, no, I'm going Red Bull for constructors.
Yeah, and I'm going Ferrari. So I do think Ferrari will have a strong team, but we might not get the title. They. Rookie of the year, I'm going Nick DeVries.
Same. I think, yeah, it's kind of a no-brainer there.
And all right, so for the team orders, do you want to give yours? You gave your order.
Here's the one question I have for Rookie of the Year, because does Nick DeVries finish higher in the points than Oscar Piastri and Logan Sargent? Because technically, that's what Rookie of the Year means.
I don't know. I think that's subjective. I think let's figure that out as we go, because you can put in some really good performances without getting the points, right?
All right, this one might have a rule change coming during the midseason.
Yeah,
little summer break.
Yeah, a little update. All right, what's your team order at the end of the year? Who give us your 1 through 10?
Well, I just realized my notes were wrong. I'm going Red Bull as constructors. Team order. So Red Bull, Ferrari, Merc, Alpine, McLaren, Aston Martin, Alfa Romeo, Haas, Alpha Tauri, and Williams. So
okay, pretty strong. Mine is very different to yours. I put Ferrari on top, Red Bull second, Aston Martin P3. I know you
absolute garbage.
Yep. I mean, I'm going for the points, baby. Because you never know. If someone did find something crazy over the offseason, it's going to be them, no one else.
I just think it's crazy for you to go to have who you're about to say lower than.
Hey, did I interrupt? Did I interrupt your 1 through 10? Okay, Merc is in P4, Alpine P5, Alfa Romeo P6, McLaren P7, Haas P8, Alpha Tauri 9, Williams 10. That's my order.
Jim, you really think McLaren tumbles, huh?
Yeah, I think McLaren's gonna have a tough year. Watch McLaren finish second, Merc first, and Aston Martin ninth, and I'll just get screwed again. But
dude, I mean, this is almost impossible to do. Like if you were to place bets on this and win, I'm sure you'd make millions of dollars.
This is why I like this exercise, and we'll come back in 12 months and see how wrong we were.
It makes me feel better though on that point. Just that they do this, like the professional pundits do this, and they all get it.
Yeah,
disastrously wrong.
We're all wrong, and if we get a few of them right, a lot of it is kind of luck, right? Which is also the case for the wild cards, right? That's why they're wild. I'm going to go for Alonso wins a race in 2023, Gasly podium at Alpine, and Piastri outscores Norris.
Okay, I'm going Nick DeVries gets first podium.
Ooh, I like it.
I'm going Aston Martin gets first win. I'm not saying which driver. I'm saying Aston Martin. And
first win, you said?
Aston Martin gets their first win.
Okay.
I'm not saying which driver. Hulk gets his first podium.
Ooh, I like that. Let's remind everyone that Hulk is the most experienced driver without a podium.
Kind of feels funny. It's like it kind of feels like in a high schooler going to play like elementary school level soccer. some weird way because he's like so tall and big and like
You calling
you know,
Hulk a soccer dad? Yeah.
no, I don't know. It just Hulk coming back in Formula One feels so much weirder than like even Alonso. But
It does, because you never believed in Hulk coming back. I think when
were you
we
saying
retired,
like me?
yeah. I think you said in 2019, you're like, his time is up. And I'm not saying this like I'm not pointing fingers at you, but a lot of people kind of thought that was the natural.
Listen, man, we can go find everybody else who said that because I am definitely in the majority. But good for him. Good for Hulk, dude. Like, listen, the Russians invaded fucking Ukraine, and wow.
Moving on. All right. Predictions for this weekend. We're going racing. First
Oh my God, there's so many predictions.
first race of the year. Yeah, it's not going to be as tedious every episode. Don't worry. Now we give our predictions for the upcoming race, which is Bahrain 2023. And you need to give us your pole and P1 through P5 and Gromo, Knowles.
Yeah. Why do I get to go first?
Do you want me to go first as a defending champ?
No, technically you should be able to go second. So I'm going pole is going to be Max.
Yep.
P1 is going to be Max. P2 is Shal. P3 I'm going with George.
Ooh, strong.
And P4 Carlos. P5 Checo. Gromo I'm going Piastri.
Oh, man, you really don't like him.
You know what? Fuck around and find out.
Wow. Well, it looks like you also forgot about your boy Lewis.
I think Lewis finishes outside of P5. I think he still finishes in the points, but doesn't count for.
Well, not a strong start for Lewis, according to you. I'm going to go for Carlos Sainz on pole.
Wow.
P1 for Verstappen. P2 for Leclerc. P3 for Perez. P4 for Sainz. Yep, strategy is going to happen. P5 for Alonso. And I'm going to go for Gromo for Logan Sargent. Nothing against the guy like you do against Piastri, but I'm just giving his little welcome present to F1 on the stand.
Welcome. It's savage out here.
So I think tomorrow we're starting with, interviews and all that good stuff. And Bahrain 2023. The winter was very short. A lot of stuff's gone on. Mercedes still has their zero pod concept, which we thought they might change up. And they think their porpoising is gone. So yeah, final notes before we get racing, Knowles?
Final thoughts. I wear my Mercedes hat at the moment. Please, Merc. Please. And Ferrari, actually. Please. I'm almost like praying to them. I'm like praying to Toto and Fred. Please, Fred and Toto. Please challenge Red Bull this year. Please. That's it.
Yeah.
It's mine.
And please let there not be a dominant season from Max Verstappen. Let's have some close racing at the top. Make sure to follow us at the Grandstand F1 on Instagram.
Yes, sir.
And on
IG,
Twitter.
We're putting out that content.
We are. And we'll see you next week for the Bahrain Grand Prix debrief.